Thank you, Jackie.
Well, today, the MLB celebrates the anniversary of Jackie Robinson's historic debut as he broke baseball's color barrier on April 15th, 1947, as a first baseman for the Brooklyn Dodgers. So, Shannon, what does Jackie Robinson Day mean to you?
Wow. Skip, there have been very few men in sports that transcend the sport outside of sport. Normally, you look at Muhammad Ali, you look at Jackie Robinson and what they stood for. Now, I'm not sure everybody, and I think Branch Rickey said it best, he had to choose the right person to be in this role, because this role wasn't for everybody. Because what Jackie had to endure just to play, the name calling, the being, you know, the opposing team castigating him and trying to do bad things, you know. Skip, and I know it's...
Remember, Branch Rickey said, I don't need a man who will fight back. I need a man who won't fight back.
Exactly.
In a good way.
Good way.
Yeah.
But if we know, Skip, we know he swallowed a lot for the simple fact that once he got out, he became so outspoken. The things that he said post-baseball was nothing like what he did in his mannerism in baseball, because he knew he didn't want to ruin it for anybody else. Because he knew he would... That's it, Skip. Mm-hmm. He messes up, and see, that's why we didn't give him a chance to begin with.
Correct.
And so he wasn't going to give them that opportunity to say, Jackie Robinson messed it up for the next black to get this same opportunity. Bided his time, extraordinary athlete, as Curtis Granderson was narrating that piece. Mm-hmm. Skip, I just don't know how many other people. Larry Doby was the first to integrate the American League, and it was reported, I think I read this correctly, Skip, he was the first baseman. And the first baseman, they say he's going to put him at first base, but the white guy's like, nah, I'll quit if you play him at first. So he had to wait a couple of extra years. Mm. But Jackie, Skip, I mean, what do you say? How do you, what bothers me most, Skip, when they say sports bring people together? Sports unites us. It unites us where you watch the guys do that. But then we can go back to our segregated society, where blacks couldn't come into the restaurant, blacks couldn't drink at the water fountain, blacks couldn't go to the school. But it unites us. Who? It united white America watching black Americans entertain them. That's what it united. Because there was nothing united about the United States of America. Skip, there was nothing united about that in the 40s, in the 50s, and the 60s. What was united? People watching sports. That's it. And Jackie's like, you know what, hey, I'm going to do my part. Played, won the MVP, won pennant, won championships. I remember, I think it was 72, he said, Skip, that he would never stand or put his hand over his heart again while the national anthem is playing, because he realized that all he'll ever be is a black man in America. Mm-hmm. And he will not get afforded the same treatment as his white counterparts. Yep. But he never spoke to that because he knew people was wanting Jackie Robinson to fail, because they could say, see, this is why it took so long. This is why it's not going to happen again. But for him to hold his head up high and to carry himself in the manner in which he carried himself and to play the way he played, words can't do him enough justice. And I commend the MLB. Mm-hmm. They have a Jackie Robinson Day, Skip. Everybody wears the number 42. It's special. It's a really, really special day. Mm.
It is so special. And he had such monumental impact that, as you said, transcended just the sport of baseball. Yes. But allow me to digress briefly into the impact that that man had on my childhood as a baseball fan, because I was all about baseball growing up, because pro football hadn't taken off yet. No. And there was little to no NBA yet. Right. So there's a classic picture that a friend of mine named Willie Weinbaum wrote about for The Undefeated on ESPN.com. Picture that I've seen my whole life. It's a picture that resonated from sea to shining sea. And it was the year before Jackie broke the color barrier in MLB. It was his first game ever as a minor league player at the AAA level for the Montreal Royals in the opening day game at the Jersey City Giants. So he's the first black minor league player. Mm-hmm. And in game number one on opening day, a day game, he hits a home run. And if we could see this picture, as he crosses home plate, a white player named George Shuba actually reaches out and shook the black man's hand. It was a monumental moment of this country sitting back and saying, wait a second, there's a black man playing minor league baseball. And a white player actually accepted him to the point that he congratulated him?
Correct.
This was a huge breakthrough.
It was.
Just to, it's hard to believe, but it sort of shows you how far we've come.
Correct.
But that was a breakthrough moment for this country.
Right.
And that picture, that classy picture, it ran on the front pages from New York to Los Angeles.
Skip, I've never seen that picture before. I've never seen that.
It's a great one.
It is.
George Shuba, just a minor league player, didn't make it as a big pro baseball player. Okay. So a year later, he breaks the color barrier. And then just 2 years later, Jackie Robinson, that man right there, out of UCLA, where he was a baseball, basketball, and football, especially a football star. Everybody in LA knew Jackie Robinson.
Track too.
Big track and field. He was a superstar athlete. He breaks through in 1949 and wins the MVP by hitting 342. And the floodgates opened. And this morning I went through the whole list and I counted in the 1950s and 1960s. My childhood was more in the 60s. 18 times players of color won the MVP in the 50s and 60s. Well, it's coming right on the tails of him breaking the color barrier.
Right.
You would think it would take some time. It took no time.
No time.
The floodgates opened.
Yeah.
So I've told you about baseball today, and it lost some of its black audience over the last 20-odd years. But in my childhood, when baseball was the reason I existed, players of color dominated in ways you don't understand, because it's a little before your time, but not that much. But I'm just going to quickly run down the list. These are all my heroes from childhood. Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, Willie McCovey, Frank Robinson, then my beloved Cardinals, Bob Gibson, Lou Brock, Bill White, Kurt Flood, who broke all kinds of barriers on his own financially.
Free agency happened in baseball
because of him. Ernie Banks in Chicago. Then the Dodgers, I'm going way back with Roy Campanella and Don Newcomb. Maury Wills came a little bit later. Joe Morgan, who became a great TV color analyst.
With the Reds.
Reggie Jackson, who just dominated. Willie Stargell, Bobby Bonds, the father of Barry. Elston Howard was the first Yankee as their catcher. He was their stalwart catcher in the Mantle Maris days. Then, of course, Satchel Paige came late to the game out of the Negro Leagues, but he still was a force to be reckoned with. And then we had other players of color, Roberto Clemente, Orlando Cepeda, and the great Juan Marichal. Had this bizarre delivery.
The leg kick.
Yeah, the highest leg kick ever. Okay, these are my heroes of my childhood, and it's because that guy didn't just open the door. Seriously, he opened the floodgates. It flooded because we were talking about black quarterbacks. Once he won the MVP in 1949, the other owners are saying, they might still be racist, but they're saying, I got to give me one of them.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. That's what happened in college football. Skip. Once they let the black athletes in, boom. That's it.
These are legendary players, and then we somehow lost this generation, and I don't know why, but that guy endures, and his impact on this game, but on the world endures. So God bless him.
It is, Skip. It's unbelievable. Like I said, and the thing is like, you look at Muhammad Ali, you can make the case that he's the greatest fight. He's the greatest heavyweight. I would. Jackie was never the greatest, never thought of as the great. He's not even the greatest black player.
No.
Not even close, Skip. I think he played second base. Not the greatest second baseman. But his impact, being black, the way he conducted himself, the way he, how many times can somebody call your name before you respond? How many times can, you get turned away before you respond? How many times, like, hold on, my friends can go in there and eat, but I got to go to the back. I can't go in there. Yeah. Or they can go down and watch the movies, and we got to go up. Because I remember, Skip, we used to have a movie theater in Glenville. And I remember we were sitting upstairs, and the white sat downstairs. Didn't really, 5-year-old kid, I didn't understand why. I was like, I thought we just sitting up here. But to see that, Skip.
Yeah.
And to endure, just think about it now in today's time. If you're a black athlete, just think about it. You go, so your team can stay at the Montage, or they can stay at the Four Seasons or the Ritz-Carlton, and then you go to some rinky-dink place. Yeah. They get to go to these nice restaurants, Abra or Mastro's or whatever. Now you got to go to the burger joint around the corner, and they're going to hand you your food out the back.
I've told you before, I finally talked my parents into, in maybe 1961, taking my first St. Louis Cardinals game, my first MLB game ever. And I was stunned because the right field stands was all black people. And I said, what is that? And my mother said, well, that's the colored section. There's a colored section?
Right.
Yes. Yes, there was.
Yes.
Who knew?
Right. Well, I mean, it went from the Negro to colored. Yeah. so we've regressed with the names. But this was unbelievable. I'm so proud of the MLB. They did it right. You know, and Griffey, I had Griffey, and he did shoes, the Jackie Robinson edition shoes that I got. I forgot them. I had them setting up there. Was going to bring them today. But Skip, this is unbelievable. I mean, for this man, the courage that he showed, I don't know how many people could have done it, Skip. I don't know. But not only did he have to show courage, Skip, he had to play well. Now, he can't hit 200. He can't hit 200,